Registered investment advisory firms headquartered in Mississippi, as well as the chairman of the board of the Center for Board Certified Fiduciaries. How are you doing, Scott?
I'm great, Tanya. How are you doing?
All right.
Good.
So we just saw the big board.
Right.
Down 442 points.
Yep.
Should people be worried about their 401k?
Well, I think people should always be worried about their 401k, and they should be worried about how much money they're putting in it. The fact is 401k plans are long time horizons. The markets are up 70% of the time. They're down 30% of the time. If you told me that blackjack table 12 at the Golden Moon Casino would pay off 70% of the time, I'd move my family down there. It's just, and so it's really, it's just how much do you put in it? That's the part that matters, and put it in consistently over time and not worry too much about what's happening day to day in the markets, because that's all emotional. What's happening today in the market is an emotional response to headlines, and headlines don't really tell you the whole story.
Right. So now let's talk about the debt ceiling showdown. You know, the debate is still going on.
Right.
How critical is this to all Americans?
Well, we've raised the debt ceiling 78 times in the last 63 years. Since 1960, we've raised it 78 times. That's more than once a year. And if you want to make this a political thing, 2/3 of the time Republicans raised it, 1/3 of the time Democrats raised it. It's not a political issue. It is an issue with how much we spend and how much we're allowed to spend. If you had a credit card and you had a $2,000 limit on it, and you bought a $4,000 TV, and the credit card company let you buy the TV and then refused to change your limit to $4,000, that doesn't even make sense. And so what we've done is that Congress has decided to spend this money. And now they've decided that they're not going to print enough money to pay off our debts. It doesn't make any sense to say we're not allowed to borrow the money to pay off our debts. We're the strongest country. We're a superpower. We're not a superpower because we have bigger guns. It helps. But we're a superpower because we're the safest investment in the world. The United States is a place where every country comes to safely invest their money because we pay our debts on time, all the time. And if you want to take a chance in ruining that, ruining that reputation that we have, which in 2011 our AAA rating went down to a AA because we almost didn't pay our debts.
Right.
With a debt ceiling crisis. 2013 we had a debt ceiling crisis, sent people home for 16 days, and the federal employees and all of that, but we worked it out because there is no choice but to work it. For sane people, for reasonable people, there's no choice but to raise the debt ceiling. And then you can go back and figure out what you want to spend so you don't have to do it next year.
Right.
But don't spend the money and then come tell me that you're not going to do what you have to do to pay it off.
Okay, now we are quickly running out of time.
Sorry.
How do we get inflation under control?
Well, it is getting under control. I mean, the Fed's doing a pretty good job with that. Our inflation rate was almost 10%, just not but a couple of months ago. It's at 5% right now. Their goal is 2%. I think that is working itself out. There are a lot of bells and whistles that have to be pulled and tugged to make that happen, but it looks like things are settling down pretty well right now.
All right. Thank you so much, as always, Scott
Absolutely.
Reed, joining us. Still to come on WTVA 9 News at noon. We continue